Welcome back to Innovative History. Today, our journey takes us back to the 1400s to learn about the one and only Vasco da Gama. You're probably familiar with Christopher Columbus and the fact that when he discovered America, he actually thought he had landed in Asia. In fact, famous explorers like Columbus, Ferdinand Magellan, and Amerigo Vespucci were all trying to find a westward route to India, Asia, and the Spice Islands. But are you familiar with the first European explorer to sail to India? Vasco da Gama was an explorer famous for being the first person to sail directly from Europe to India by going around Africa and the Cape of Good Hope. His voyage was a key part of helping Portugal grow as a colonial power. Vasco da Gama was born in 1460 to a noble family in Senez, Portugal. Little is known about da Gama's upbringing, but he was likely educated in mathematics and navigation, which would be key to his later success as an explorer. Around 1480, da Gama joined a group called the Order of Santiago, where he eventually became acquainted with Prince John of Portugal. Fortunately for da Gama, this prince eventually became King John II of Portugal, and this connection provided great opportunities for Vasco da Gama. In 1492, King John sent da Gama on a mission to seize some French ships in retaliation for crimes against Portuguese trading. Da Gama swiftly and effectively completed the mission, further earning King John's trust. Along with capturing a few French ships here and there, Portugal also wanted to find a sailing route from Europe to India in order to gain easier access to the global spice trade. Portugal had already gained a lot of knowledge from Portuguese sailor Bartolomeu Diaz, who was the first known explorer from Europe to sail around the Cape of Good Hope in Africa in 1488. And so, King John's successor, King Manuel I, selected Vasco da Gama to continue Portugal's search for a route to India by ship. On July 8, 1497, Vasco da Gama set sail from Lisbon, Portugal, with a fleet of 4 ships and nearly 170 sailors. They were headed down the coast of Africa with plans to sail farther east than any European ever had. Da Gama and his crew took a wide route to the southern tip of Africa, following the patterns of the wind and not seeing land for months. Finally, in November, the Armada rounded the Cape of Good Hope and continued sailing up the east coast of Africa. The fleet stopped at a few different locations on the African coast with an apparent inclination for places that started with the letter M, as the fleet stopped at Mozambique, Mombasa, and Malindi. Finally, the fleet made the journey across the Indian Ocean to reach India at a place called Calicut in 1498. Da Gama and his men were initially welcomed in India. However, the explorer's inability to provide adequate gifts to the local ruler led the Portuguese to become unwelcome in this distant kingdom. Unwelcome, and having been away from home for quite some time, da Gama decided to set sail back to Portugal. Da Gama's unwillingness to listen to local knowledge about the monsoon winds in the area made the return trip extremely difficult, costing the lives of a number of his sailors. But ultimately, da Gama made it back to Portugal, where he was received with great praise. Da Gama would return on another voyage in 1502. However, Portugal and da Gama's treatment of Muslim sailors in the area would further strain the Portuguese relationships with the locals. Da Gama and the Portuguese, who were Christians, were known to have attacked Muslim ships, causing violence throughout the region. However, when da Gama returned to Portugal, he was celebrated. For the next 20 years, da Gama did not return to India, as other Portuguese officials managed the kingdom's affairs abroad. In the meantime, da Gama would be married and have 6 sons. He continued to advise Portuguese monarchs on Indian affairs, but it wasn't until 1524 that a new king, King John III, made da Gama the viceroy in India, and da Gama would return. However, da Gama's return to glory was short-lived, as he died from disease the same year. Da Gama is remembered in history for being the first European to sail to India. However, his legacy is also tainted to some extent by the violent means he used to achieve some of his success. Ultimately, da Gama's route to India sped up international trade and helped hasten the exploration of the world.